Hello, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Tone's Market Analysis for Thursday, August 17th. I believe it's almost Thursday on the East Coast, probably still Wednesday on the West Coast of the US. I am in St. Petersburg, Russia, so it's about 8 a.m. for me. So for the first time, I guess my audience in Asia will get to watch this live at a convenient time, while the people in New York will get to suffer how the Europeans usually suffer. And this video is coming in very, very late. But if you're on the West Coast of the US, you're still doing okay. All right, I will be updating my website once I'm home back in New York, which should be probably like Tuesday or Wednesday. I'll be back home, and then I'll be able to update the website and a few other things. All right, I'm going to jump right into the markets, mostly because I still have to finish my presentation that I have to give here in St. Petersburg later today, and not really much time to go around. I haven't had much time to pay attention to the political landscape, but what I clearly remember saying last time is do not take this giant drop in the stock market seriously, okay? Because it was all like, the Twitter beef between Trump and Kim over in North Korea. And that's exactly what it was. It was just one bad day, something not to take seriously. And then we are now right back into this box that I have been talking about. And once, cooler heads prevail, it will be business as usual, and the stock market will once again go all the way up. Let me just make sure I'm sharing screen and everything is fine. Thank you to the almost 200 live viewers. I am expecting my live audience to be a little bit smaller today than usual. And in case anyone did consider trading this giant down candle, I would not have under any metric. Now, once you see a bad day like that, you can just sorry, jump right on the bandwagon, and you can, I guess, go ahead and start making profit on that day. But there was no indication of shorting this market. And even with my numerical indicator, if I really zoom in on this and I say, okay, would these numbers that I like to use, would they have told me to go short at any point? And the answer is no, because if I look at this number one, I look at its low, which would be right here, but obviously not when I move my mouse. But that low is 2,437.8. And the low the next day was 2,437.9. So not even by the penny did the following day ever trade lower than this day. So if the following day never trades lower than this day, you do not enter a short position. So this did not put you in a bear trap, luckily, by 10 cents, and therefore it started to go back up, and the short trade was never executed, and now you're back in the box. There should be no position on the S&P 500, but the moment it starts to break out, we go back up again. And if you're new to my channel, you have to watch my previous videos where I talk about there's no such thing as multiple double tops or triple tops or quintuple tops that we're getting right now. That's not how markets top. Markets top, like literally, you get 1 hour to get out, and then you're stuck in a losing position until you give up. That's how markets top, and this clearly isn't it. So I am expecting way higher prices for the S&P 500. Here's the weekly chart. I thought the pullback might last a little bit longer. It obviously did not. If this week concludes the way it's going, this candle pattern is known as a bullish harami, where we have a little green candle inside a big red candle, and it could signal, further continuation to the upside. You had a bit of a doji right here that could have signaled some trouble, but then it went traded higher. So this doji did not really this doji was not realized as a reversal candle, and I'm expecting way higher prices for the S&P 500 this year, next year, maybe even the year after. It'll top eventually, but not yet. All right, let's close the markets. Gold. Gold continues to be a bit of a pain for me. I know everyone else is like, well, Tone, gold is so easy. I'm trading it this way and that way and that way. But that's not how I trade. So for me, timing gold has been annoying and a bit frustrating. So I have not been trying to do it. Gold is now trading back up. The only real trade I see here on gold at the moment is a bullish trade once these numbers flip. So I would need to see a flip. I would need to see a close above last week's high, or at least a close. Oops. Let me see if I can reverse that. At least a close above last week's close. And then I guess there is a bullish trade on the table. But considering how far gold has come up, I don't know. I would wait for a better setup. I would wait for a cleaner trade. Like, I try not to chase trades. I'm not going to talk about what's not in the charts. And this 9 did suggest a potential, at least a short-term pullback, which never happened. And now it is suggesting, a countdown to 13, but I don't really see any bullish trades in here. And soon we're going to get, a 13 countdown reversal. I don't know. I wouldn't touch gold right now. I'm personally waiting for a cleaner trade on gold. And you'll see that in the euro, where we actually do have a clean trade. Here's the weekly one. Again, I always expected it to come down to this point and then crash to 900 and then go to 2000. But it looks like it wants to go up now, a bit prematurely, in my opinion. So I don't want to get caught in another bull trap. So once again, even the weekly chart is keeping me scared and on the sidelines. Though there will always be a better entry. I mean, if this is a reversal in gold to all-time highs, there will be cleaner trades. But I would not enter here and then, lose my shirt as it goes all the way down. There was a 9 sell, nice time trade. We haven't had anything else on the weekly. I mean, there was an entry on the daily according to this indicator that I really like to use these days because it's just been fairly accurate in most markets. There was a bullish trade right here at the top of this candle. But of course, I would not have done this trade. I would not have trusted that we've broken out yet. And even right here, I'd still want us to get to above this line. But then it'll be near a 9 sell signal. So once again, I would be cautious and not trading it to the upside and try to time potentially a bearish trade. But again, even in the bearish trade, you got a situation where it could be breaking out. So I can certainly see gold frustrating me for the rest of the year without having any clean trades. We also have gonna have a 13 exhaustion from this 9, possibly as early as tomorrow. And therefore, again, you have these bullish signs conflicting with these bearish signs. And I don't know. I don't know what to tell you guys about gold. I'm not touching it. I got like 3 different reasons to go long and 3 different reasons to go short. And I'm just going to stay away from it. If you can trade gold in this environment, you're a better trader than I am because I'm not touching it. All right, let's close gold. I mean, oil is much cleaner. I mean, I didn't actually trade it, but at least I can call oil. I've been calling this downward channel for a while now, and here it is, working out perfectly once again. I did talk about the numbers being bullish, but I didn't like it how it hit the top of the channel. The 50-week moving average was in the way. You had this doji. You had Again, only the numbers were telling me to go long. Everything else was going to tell me to go short, and I would have gone short because I would have been like a little hesitant because my favorite the reason to go long is my favorite reason to trade, but everything else told me to go short oil. So if I was forced to trade oil, I would have shorted it a few weeks ago, and that would have been like a really good trade. I obviously didn't do it, or you'd see a position on the screen. But I was talking about it, that it was definitely leaning to the short side. And oil is definitely a short trade even now, because next week these numbers will flip, and then we'll see if we can get all the way back down to the bottom of the channel. Euro, this actually was the only trade I had on the table in order to short the euro. I think this run was ridiculous, and I think this run is over, okay? I really do. Now, it's not, the week is not over yet. We still got a few more days. But as I zoom in, you can see my trade. And you can also see that my trade, unfortunately, missed my entry by a few bips. But I was prematurely entering, and I entered this trade before this candle started to form, and I just wanted to short at, I just put a round number in here for simplicity, 1.185, and we almost got to that number. We got to 1.18384. So it's literally just like the tiniest fraction that kept me from entering that short trade on TradingView, setup. But the short trade is still here. If you would have jumped the gun a little bit earlier, you could have been making pretty good money in a currency market. It's very highly leveraged. I still think this 9 is going to amount to something. So here's how, again, people always ask me for this numerical indicator, and I wasn't sure if I wanted to sell it, and I wasn't sure. I definitely don't want to give it away for free because it did take effort to code it in. So if normally people call me for my consulting sessions at 0.1 Bitcoin per hour, and we can talk about this trading system, and I can give you the code, and I can give you some resources and stuff like that. And I know people have been emailing me and reaching out. I will get back to all of you probably starting tomorrow when I'm done with the conference, and then I'll be able to, get some work done, and I'll get back to you guys. And we can probably set up a consulting call or two even while I'm here in Russia. But the way I would have traded it, no, this arrow is orange and not red, which means it's not as strong of a sell signal. This 7 is a reversal candle. The 7 is a reversal candle right at the 200-day moving average. Sorry, 200-week moving average. To me, that's significant. This 8 candle did not go above the 7, telling you that the bearish play is still intact. And this 9 candle is already showing you weakness with it being going down. Now, it is staying above the 200-week moving average, and I'm not exactly sure how long it will be staying that way. Because like I said, the probability is that the bullish run for the euro is over. So I am trying to time a bearish trade. Most likely, it will not come back up to meet the 1.185, but I'm going to leave it there for now in case next week there is, that little bit of a scare back to the upside and enter my trade. If not, I'll enter this trade upon the price flip that's going to take place next week, at least expecting. So there is time to enter this particular trade as long as we don't come anywhere near the height of the 7. If we come back to the height of the 7, there could be some more life in the trade left. But these are the kinds of trades I like. I'll wait, months for a perfect setup, and even if it's not a perfect setup, I will lose a little bit, and I'll keep waiting because I'll just I'm very patient with my trades. Well, let's put it that way. Okay, so I am going to try and time a short on the euro, and we'll see how that goes. Okay. Also, back to the 9. So to me, a 9 like this, in general, a 9 will lead to 3 things. It can completely reverse the price. It can be almost meaningless and the price keeps going up. Or it can lead to a 1 to 4 day pullback and then reverse back to the upside. So someone that isn't new to trading will say, well, Tone, you just covered every possibility. What the hell's the point? And my answer to you is, if that's what you think I just said, then you are really new to trading, and perhaps you should study before trying to trade. A 9 like this tells me that the probability is significantly higher that we're going to get the 1 to 4 day pullback before a reversal, or a complete reversal to the downside. And therefore, the probability that this 9 is meaningless and will continue to go back up, to me, is very, very small. So at the least, I can immediately take the trade where, well, my worst case scenario is only 4 weeks down and then back up, and I'll have plenty of time to take my profit and realize that this was just a pullback before an eventual uptrend again. Or after 4 days, I realize, you know what, this puppy is going all the way down, and I'm going to stay with my bearish trade. So that's where my probability is, and that's why I set up my trade this way. And let's see what happens the rest of the week, and let's see what happens next week. The moment next week starts trading lower than the current week, I would either add to my short position or enter my short position, because I'm not in this short position yet, unfortunately, only because I missed it by a few bips. Okay, if I had been watching the euro anytime between the last time I made this video and right now, I probably would have, jumped the gun and shorted it at some point. But one of the reasons why I don't really trade these things often is because I travel too much and I do these videos. So traders don't talk about trading; they just do it. Okay. So if I'm gonna talk about trading, it's better that I talk and don't actually do it. Everybody benefits. And anyway, that's kind of how I'm keeping it. All right, enough about the euro. I'll just glance at the daily chart. The daily chart gave me a 9 right here, telling me to be cautious about the upside coming to an end. We had a doji right near the top. We had a flipping. Oh, wow, this is the old script. Hold on, let me update the script. There we go. So this 9 told me to be cautious, and this 6 doji candle told me that, you know what, this run-up might be starting to end. And then this red 3 right here did tell me to short the euro. And then this 1 right here told me that my short trade just got busted and I'm out break even. And then maybe this 2 told me to short again. I'm not sure yet. The low was 1.16871 and 16810. Yes. So this 2 candle would have told me that the short trade is on the table. And if I had been watching this thing on a daily basis, I probably would have shorted the euro right around here. Great entry. And right now I would be down on that entry, but I'm still waiting for a good entry. Okay. So there's lots of discretion when it comes to trading, guys. Writing automated scripts isn't always ideal. Sometimes you just have to think about it. All right, guys, I'll talk about my travel schedule coming up on the next video. I'm not sure if my next video is going to come from Russia again, or I'll just wait till I get home and do it. We'll see. We'll see how the rest of my week shapes out. I'll try to make, today in Bitcoin on the World Crypto Network to talk about that, just to give you an idea of the market. I'm up to Bitcoin now. I'm 20 minutes in. I'm going to spend a few minutes on Bitcoin. Maybe I'll grab 1 or 2 live questions. I'm not going to go heavy on the questions today because, like I said, still got to make my presentation. I only have like an hour before I have to go to the venue. So I want to get all that done, finish that up. And we are just going to jump right into Bitcoin. But my travel schedule is I'll be in Europe between September 10th and October 10th. And next time I'll check the calendar on my website. If you go to my website, there's a calendar on the right. But there's some meetups that are missing. So I'll once there's websites for those, I will go ahead and add those. I'm at 370 live viewers, so thank you for watching, guys. I know it's late there in New York on the East Coast, but the West Coast should be doing okay at this time. Okay, so here's the weekly chart. I think the last time I did this, I was at the Toronto airport about 48 hours ago or something. But so the weekly chart continues to look really strong, really strong. This 5 candle was starting to go down a bit, and I was saying that's kind of a good thing because the 9 sell signal like we had here depends a lot on the 5 candle. It actually, in order to get a 9, your price has to be higher than the 5. So wherever this 5 candle ends this Sunday is going to be the waterline for whether we do or don't get a 9 eventually. Okay. Now, of course, a bad week on a 6, 7, or 8 can flip the price, flip the numbers. But this really depends on the 9. So I'll talk about that, I guess, in the coming weeks. And this indicator told you to go long right where this green line is, and the long trade remains intact on the weekly scale. So once this week ends in about 4 days, 3 days, I will be looking at 4 more weeks of upside, taking us into the middle of September, and then we'll take it from there. Okay, I really try not to take these things too far out. So the weekly chart, very bullish. The daily chart is where things get really, really interesting. Okay, so I think sooner or later I am going to have to switch away from Bitfinex. And it will be unfortunate because all of my art and all of my drawings and all of my trend lines go back about 3 or 4 years because I've always used Bitfinex charts ever since I started doing these analysis articles and videos. So the Bitfinex chart, if we look at it from a, forget about these numbers, right? If we look at it from a traditional trading style, we're making new highs. I have no clue where it's going to end. None. Like, absolutely none. When it's time to make new highs, I try not to guess where the top is going to be. If you asked me earlier in the year, like on January 1st, when the price of Bitcoin was still about $700-800, my view was, well, top out around 2000 in August and then reverse. That's what I was quoted in one of the articles. And obviously I was wrong. We've gone twice as high. I greatly underestimated Bitcoin's bullishness with SegWit. I always thought that SegWit would double the price. I didn't realize SegWit would quadruple the price. But it's great. And I think we can go higher on this run. I think we can go much higher. And probably top out in October, November. And a lot of that top out depends on the big blocker FUD. If the big blockers start screaming that we need to hard fork again, the price will crash. Well, like these people I honestly think that these people don't want Bitcoin to be valuable. They just want Bitcoin to be in the shitter. They want to get rid of the core developers that care about nothing other than having Bitcoin be this unstoppable value transfer, and big blockers want a centralized coin and hand it all to the miners. And the people get scared, and the speculators get scared, and the users get scared, and the price dumps. So let's see if they learn their lesson. My guess is they don't learn their lesson. A lot of these big blockers hold Bitcoin, and when they start to make money, they think they know it better than everybody, than the experts, and then they try to push their agenda and the price falls. So let's see what happens. I mean, I don't want the price to fall, so I'll continue to speak out against this big blocker nonsense, because every time they open their mouth, they crash the price. And some people like it because they get to trade and profit from it, but I sure don't. I'm just a holder of Bitcoin. Most of my clients are holders of Bitcoin. And I'm not here to, play games and try to pick up Bitcoin on the cheap, because I denominate my services in Bitcoin. I get paid in Bitcoin. I don't have any cash to buy Bitcoin on the cheap. So I have absolutely no incentive to temporarily crash the price so I can get more Bitcoin. And it frustrates me about people that do. I just want the most steady, most stable value of Bitcoin, and my videos will continue to push the agenda of a less volatile Bitcoin that slowly continues to go up and not crash, $1,000, so I can get my hands on more Bitcoin from my fiat, because I don't have any fiat, guys. Okay, so yeah, if there is an agenda to these videos, it's to continue making the Bitcoin price grow as least volatile as possible. Just continue to go up in a linear line instead of this up and down crash kind of style. Okay, so here's the daily chart. We're making all-time highs. I'm not gonna, uh, I'm not going to do a stupid thing like everybody else in the mainstream media now. This analyst says 7,500 and then a fall, and this analyst says, 5,000 and then a fall. That's ridiculous. None of them know shit. Okay, we're at all-time high, and nobody knows where it's gonna. Nobody knows at what price it's gonna end. And if someone does tell you, they're guessing. And if they get it right, they got it right because they're guessing. And if they tell you they got it right in the past, I'll ask them, okay, show me your Twitter, show me your YouTube videos, because mine are all out there. All my tweets are still around, I guess, if Twitter, unless Twitter, stops showing them to you after years or something, but I can always request those. I don't delete any of my work. Go back to my 2014 Cointelegraph articles where I was hated by the industry because I kept saying that Bitcoin is going to keep falling because my technical analysis said so. And all right, anyway, enough reminiscing. Let's take a look at the only way I can actually time a top is by time. And time is telling me that we're on a 6 according to the Bitfinex chart. We never even pulled back. Never even pulled back. I really thought that we can get 1 to 4 days of a pullback and then higher. We never even pulled back. So this was your early signal to take some profit. There'll always be time to go back in, right? Now, you have the countdown going on the bottom, which could tell you that the top out will come on number 13, which still could be multiple days away, okay? So while I was talking about Bitfinex being a potential, top, the Bitstamp price was a little bit better because it gave you 2 more days of upside before a potential top right here. And then we still don't have a clean reversal candle. We never did. This candle number 2 started to fall. And then if the following candle was going to go lower, we would have gotten that flip. But we didn't. And there was definitely profit taken here. Like I would have taken profit on the 9 if I was daily trading this thing. There were hourly indications to take your profit. And now we're going back up, and now we're already on a 4. So let's say you did take your profit on the 9. How do you know when to jump back in to the bull side? Well, not here because it has a 1 on top of it. Potentially here, but that would have scared you, right? Because this candle did go above this candle. I probably would not have. I probably would have taken this 9 a little more seriously and would have been looking for a 1 to 4 day pullback. A little discretion would have been needed, and I probably would not have shorted. Would not have gone long on this too. I probably would not have shorted Bitcoin either. I would have just taken all of my profits from the bullish trade. Now, the height of this 2 candle is exactly 4,400 on Bitstamp. The height of this 3 candle is $20 lower. So there was no indication to go long Bitcoin. The height of the current candle is 4,385. which is slightly higher than the height of the previous candle. So right now, this week, there actually is an indication to go long, okay? So the long trade is coming back on the table. Let's look at the hourly. Like I said in my tweet, the hourly gave you multiple warnings to take your profit. Here, here. You know what? Let me make this cleaner. The hourly did give me warnings on this doji right here, on this candle right here, on this candle right there. And there was a short entry around this area on the hourly chart. There were other short entries that would have gotten you out break even, but this is the only one that would have made you some money on the short. And right here, I think I talked about this candle in real time as it was happening. I think I talked about it when it was like, 15 minutes past this candle, that this is a nice potential reversal back to the upside. The 50-day moving average got in the way. Oops. The 50-day moving average got in the way once, twice, and then last night, boom, broke out. Okay. Now we did get this 9 that told you to be cautious. And right now, the 50-hour moving average, is acting as support. So if these hourly candles flip, if we go back up to above 4,400, Bitcoin becomes a buy for me once again. Okay, so I am getting ready to go long Bitcoin with almost all of my metrics. Okay, Litecoin not looking very good. This is the weekly chart. There was a sell indication here. There was, buy back in around here, and you cut your losses there, and you enter your short trade here. And so 2.5 weeks ago. And Litecoin is still on the short play against Bitcoin. The 50-week moving average may hold it up, but we will see. Okay, Litecoin daily is right here, and the Litecoin daily did give you some, profit-taking opportunities from the short trade. There was a long trade off of here, and right now, I mean, Litecoin, if you are still long Litecoin, it could give you, a little bit of a bounce coming up. This rundown of a short trade is potentially coming to an end, but we don't know yet. Okay, let's give it one more day. If this is a 9, there could be at least a short-term reversal back to the upside before more downside for Litecoin. I mean, once SegWit got activated, Litecoin has not been much of a hedge. Okay. Oops, don't need that. And Monero, again, not looking too good. There is a short trade. Sorry, guys. There is a short trade on the table here. And let's see if the short trade has a few more weeks before a potential profit-taking opportunity. And we'll see if Monero can go back up. But right now, Bitcoin is just kicking everybody's ass. All right. On this note, I'm pretty much done. I think I'm 30 minutes in, maybe a little more. I guess I spoke not as fast this time. It's been, I don't know, travel, so I can't really speak fast at the moment. Let me stop the screen share. I'll go to my camera. I'm in a hotel room. And let me see if there's any questions. I have not been looking at. Oh, I got a couple of questions. Hey, thanks, Jake, for putting some questions together for me. Rich is probably sleeping because he's on the East Coast. I got my camera. Sorry, I haven't been paying attention to the live chat. If there were tips from the super chat, thank you. I missed those because I couldn't do both, screen share and keep an eye on your live stream, live chatting while doing my screen share because I'm on just one laptop. And let me take a look at your questions real quick. I don't know if I'll get to all of them, but I'll try. And then I got to get back to my presentation and head off to the conference. Hey, Tone, do BCC EU... Oh, whoa, questions just moved. Do this way. Hey, Tone, do BCC, EUR, and definitely going to be a sleeper. You know what? I haven't even looked at, Bcash at all. Like, I have no clue what's going on. I can glance at it, I guess. I personally couldn't care less about the fake Bitcoin. I don't even know if it's BCC or BCH. Jesus. Okay, let me see here. BCC, Bitcoin. I don't know what exchange is this. All right, I'm gonna close Monero. I'm gonna close Litecoin. This is Bittrex. I guess Bittrex is a good one to use. Here is the daily chart on Bittrex. It looks, steady. The low, yeah, this candle is really in the way. Hold on. Let me do this. Here's your altcoin scam fork. And let me see. So here's the low close, right? So, oh, wow, I'm not even looking at, hold on. Background, high, low, close. Your closing low was 0.0576. Right. So 0.057, okay? The moment this sucker closes below that number, put a fork in this thing. It's gonna just, okay? My $5 prediction didn't exactly work out. I guess people are dumber than I thought. Sometimes I give people a little too much credit. Speculators just, pumping this thing. God knows how much money, the diehard believers in big blocks are spending. Who the hell knows? Okay. If I change this to an hourly chart, I guess Bittrex is the right exchange to use for this thing. I honestly have no idea. Right. Now, I'm not going to talk about this chart in terms of euros because the euro market doesn't control Bitcoin. The USD market does. Jeez. Here's the hourly chart. The hourly chart got as low as 0.069 or 68. And there was, according to my indicators, there was a tradable bounce to the upside. Clearly isn't lasting too long and probably go back down. So the moment this thing starts trading below 0.05, I will start calling this thing Ccash because it's just a complete, it's useless, completely useless. And unfortunate, right? I mean, people like me didn't deserve 10% on my Bitcoin, right? And it's not a good thing, right? I'm not rich, but those that are Bitcoin rich don't deserve to just get richer by 10% for doing nothing, right? That's just wrong. So Bitcoin shouldn't be forking. Next time some idiot tries to fork this thing, it's not going to work out as well. It's just going to immediately die off. So, all right, anyway. Oh, wait, I'm not even sharing screen. Guys, I'm tired. This is what happens with, I'll share screen. I know I've been looking at the chart, but I'll share screen. Here's the hourly, here's the hourly on Bittrex. Here's that potential reversal. And yeah, I don't see anything. I don't see anything worth trading. Like I know there's a lot of volume, but this thing is barely moving now. Like look at the daily. Like those aren't really big moves. It's kind of just stuck here. It's making a monster descending triangle. Wish I can eliminate that candle on the left. And right, like it's not looking good to me. And the moment we start trading lower than these two, it'll probably completely fall apart. there'll be no stability in this thing. It's not profitable to mine. It's just a complete disaster, you know. All right. Let me stop screen share and go back to questions. Oh, another Bitcoin Cash question. BCH shut up this weekend. Yeah, and then it went back down, so who cares? If they adjust the difficulty, it doesn't matter. It's useless, guys. No, there's no ATM machines. No one is using this thing. Stop. Stop. Just stop. It's completely like, it's fake Bitcoin. All right, next. It's completely centralized. No one even knows who's mining the damn thing. Like, it's nonsense. Complete nonsense. All right, next. Somebody predicts 15,000 Bitcoin by year end. Again, that other people's predictions don't matter to me at all. They're guessing. They're absolutely guessing. I have no idea what the value it'll be. I think it'll top out in mid-September, maybe end September, and then go back down for a little bit. And if it doesn't, great, then it'll go back up. I mean, I do these videos every week so that I don't have to guess, a year out and then, forget my prediction, or hope people forget my prediction if it was wrong, right? I'm here every week, guys. Why am I going to predict a year out if I'm here every week? I'm going to predict into next week where I get to come back on cam. Guys, I'm not going to do analysis on some altcoins I've never heard of. If you really want it, the tone-based consulting service for 0.1 Bitcoin per hour is available. And once you pay me to make that chart with you, I will gladly talk about it publicly. You said in the beginning of the year to sell some Bitcoin around 3,000 USD. When are you going to sell some Bitcoin? I'll sell some Bitcoin when I need the money. As long as I don't need the money, why am I going to sell my Bitcoin? Right? Like if I don't need the cash. I don't, I live fairly frugally, so. I mean, look, I would, if I am going to sell some Bitcoin, I would time it with those 9s so I can kind of sell it at the top. I mean, I really should be selling some Bitcoin well, I should have sold some Bitcoin like last week, but I didn't. So, and now we're starting to turn back up for another up cycle. So maybe I'll be selling some Bitcoin at the end of mid to late September. I'll keep you guys posted. All right, next. Tone, would you recommend yourself as a consultant for finance management for people that are newly becoming wealthy, have no experience being wealthy, and would like to maintain their wealth? Well, I have some clients like that. People call me up, evaluate their portfolios, and I'm not really a financial manager, so I can't be like your official financial manager. That requires regulation and stuff. I can give you my advice. I can take a look at your portfolio, help give you, unofficial financial analysis advice. It's up to you, you know what? You're the boss, right? I mean, if you're paying me, you're just paying me for my opinion. How do you think Bitcoin price will behave during mass adoption? I'm hoping that the price of Bitcoin is really high when mass adoption comes, so it doesn't really affect your day-to-day purchases. Like right now, when the price of Bitcoin moves $400 in one day, your cup of coffee you may or may not be buying with Bitcoin. I don't know why you would, but if you are, it's still somewhat affected. A little less so when the price is 4,000, but price will go up greatly. And I just hope that it doesn't go up greatly too high too fast, because that's how that's how you can get bubbles, and that's how you can get crashes. And if your bubble gets too big, and the crash is too big, then people that don't know anything start screaming, somebody needs to do something. And that somebody is usually the government. And then they do something. And then 5 years later, it turns out the worst thing that they could have done is what they actually did. So I'm not in a rush for mass adoption to blow the Bitcoin price out of control, cause a big bubble in price, cause a big crash in price. You know, people start screaming, we need new developers, and you put in a bunch of, government plants into Bitcoin's development, and then there goes your free currency, right? So again, if some people think that I'm holding back Bitcoin, so what? It's more important for me that Bitcoin stays to its roots of being permissionless value transfer, that everyone is rushing out and buying coffee with it. So, all right, next. Do you think of Goldman Sachs Elliott wave prediction? I think Elliott wave is the worst kind of technical analysis tool. Wow, this camera is really like kind of bright. I was too lazy to get my webcam. I'm just using the laptop camera. I think Elliott wave is an absolute terrible way to predict anything. I think it's a completely useless way of trading and technical analysis. Many traders will disagree with me. I think Elliott wave is just nonsense, because Elliott wave is one of those few tools that is always right. It's always right. Like Elliott wave is never wrong. I've never once seen a single Elliott wave trader say, "Hey, Elliott wave put me in a bad trade." It's always like, "Oh, well, Elliott wave said this last week, but now what happened last week is now a different wave, and that wasn't the high. So the Elliott wave was actually right and I was wrong." I think that kind of analysis is atrocious. No analysis is right 100% of the time. No analysis is right 80% of the time. No analysis is even right 70% of the time. The best I hope from my analysis is 55 to 60% correctness. And when several things line up, they then give me, let's say, a probability of to be right on the trade 75 to 80% of the time, when multiple things that are 55, 51% and above line up. Those are the kinds of trades I like to make. Elliott wave tells you that it's right 100% of the time, and you just didn't trade it correctly. And I don't believe in that. That's just stupid. So I've always been a critic of Elliott wave. Ever since I learned how to trade, I immediately saw through the bullshit of the Elliott wave, and I never really liked it, and I've always criticized it. So if some Goldman Sachs analyst is using Elliott wave, he should be fired. All right, next. Hi, Tone. I'm trying to get Bitcoin today for a long hold. Should I just buy now? Yes. If your plan is to hold Bitcoin for the long hold, unless you're specifically trying to time a pullback, just buy it. Just buy it. That's my opinion on it. That's how I bought it. And it always takes multiple weeks to buy it. Like, you make a decision to buy Bitcoin, and then you realize it'll take you multiple weeks to buy it. And like me and everybody else that I know of, you're always gonna buy Bitcoin at like double the price you wanted to buy it, because you're buying it in a cycle, usually to the upside, and the 2 weeks that it takes you to buy it, you just get like, maybe not double at these prices, but that's what happened to me. I'm like, oh my God, I need to go buy Bitcoin. And then I'm like, holy shit, how do I do it? And then in the 2 weeks it took me to figure that out, the price of Bitcoin tripled. And I'm like, shit, okay, well, I'm still buying it. All right, next. Hello from Spain. Hey, Spain. Do you think Bitcoin chart will act like Litecoin's chart when SegWit? No. No. Bitcoin has already made the gains from the speculative adoption of SegWit. So now it's realistic adoption of SegWit. So if SegWit transactions are found to be, a bit tricky, and not many of them, Bitcoin could pull back a little bit. And if Bitcoin transactions start becoming more and more SegWit, there could be a little bit more of a bump of speculation, but Bitcoin should go up slow and steady until the big blockers start, pumping the FUD again and spamming the blockchain or whatever the hell else they do. All right, next. Do you think Litecoin will ever get near 25% or even 10% value of Bitcoin? I personally do not. I think that there will be just one blockchain like Bitcoin for real value. And something like Litecoin may continue to go up with Bitcoin. But with each of these major events, like what just happened, I think Litecoin will slowly become less and less of a percentage of Bitcoin. Like, I know Litecoin was always trying to be the quarter of Bitcoin with all of its metrics, but I think in the future, Litecoin will be like 1% of Bitcoin, and so will Monero. And that's about it. And then others will just, not really be relevant. So I don't think the future for Litecoin is 25% of Bitcoin. It is closer to 10%, probably 5%, probably 1%. I'm not sure what it is right now. I think I closed my Litecoin charts. It looks like right now, Litecoin is just 1% of Bitcoin. And it's possible that Litecoin will go up and will approach, 5% of Bitcoin one day. But 25%, I think, is out of the question. All right, next. How do I feel about Zcash? I think Zcash is I want to say borderline scam, but probably a full-blown scam. I need to make a crypto scam video about Zcash. It's really hard for me to sum it up in a minute or two for an answer. But the basic thing is, when you build a currency as a business, it's just stupid. Like, look, I'm sorry, like the African Rand, South African Rand, and whatever, the Euro. Euro is a little bit of a business-ish currency. But other than that, like the British Pound, these are currencies. They're not businesses. They don't have offices. They don't have CEOs. They don't have sponsorship deals. And they don't, keep 20% of currency creation for themselves. It doesn't work that way, right? Now, economically, Zcash is a scam. The way they launched it was just dumb. Technologically, Zcash is dumb because when Zuko brought this idea to the core developers took a look and they, not in a nicer way, called him an idiot, and it's not going to work on Bitcoin, and we're not going to do it. And he says, well, screw you. I know better than all of you. I'm going to launch my own currency. It's kind of the same thing Vitalik probably did with, Ethereum. Well, Bitcoin should have these features. And smart people thought about it for maybe 5 seconds, and they said, no, that's dumb. And then the developer goes, well, I'll show you. I will clone Bitcoin, and it's going to be better and greater, and it will have so much privacy. Go ask Zuko how private Zcash is. He'll tell you it's so private, he doesn't even know if anyone is like creating extra Zcash. Anyway, no. Zcash is just, believe the pumpers. I mean, they'll pump it just so they can, sell it to you. Have you heard about any signatories blackouts of the New York agreement? No, I ignore the New York agreement completely. To me, if Bitcoin works, then the New York agreement doesn't matter, right? I mean, Bitcoin is meant to be a value transfer that eliminates, the need for regulation of the currency by people with pens and paper. So the New York agreement, while I was, mad about the New York agreement when it happened, in hindsight, I should not have been. I should have been, sure, put in whatever laws you want. Go ahead and stop me from using my Bitcoin, and I'm a New Yorker. Go ahead, just do it, right? It's when your laws are unenforceable when you're using Bitcoin the way it was meant to be used, then your laws don't matter, right? You have to enforce those laws, and it's irrelevant. Do you think the block? What did you think of the Blockstack Summit? I didn't make the Blockstack Summit, unfortunately. I was in San Francisco. I didn't realize that the Blockstack Summit was like an hour and a half drive from San Francisco, and I didn't have a car, and I was a little too cheap to rent a car, and I was tired. And me and Mad Bitcoin's Thomas Hunt of the World Crypto Network, wanted to talk about where the World Crypto Network is headed and what we're going to do with that, with the content on it. And it just seemed more important. And I was also tired from being in California a whole week, so I didn't make the Blockstack Summit, unfortunately. They did give me a press pass, but unfortunately, I couldn't make the event. How's the Bitcoin vibe in Russia? No one's heard of it, apparently. I was just at this event the entire day, and everyone is working on their ICOs. They seem to have, so basically, you know how we always say Africa has bypassed landlines and went directly to cell phones? Well, apparently, Russia has bypassed Bitcoin and went directly to ICOs on Ethereum, which is going to end very badly for Russians. Because when this ICO bubble pops. But most of the people that I talk to that are working on their ICOs and altcoin projects don't have Bitcoin and never did. And to me, that's a little weird, but I guess, I don't know. What can I say? Like, let's just say I've been offering, to sell some Bitcoin so I can have some US rubles, and I'm having a bit of a problem. So it's all right. They'll learn. All right, next. No, I'm not going to talk about that altcoin that I talked about last time that I never heard of. Guys, enough with the altcoins. I know you just want me to say them so you can pump them, so I'm not going to do it. Hey, Blue Core, thanks for the tip with the next question. When do you think the average Joe who has just heard about Bitcoin will be able to easily own some in under an hour? Possibly never. Look, it's going to get harder. I think it'll be harder before it gets easier. I really think the government is going to treat Bitcoin as the next boogeyman after they legalize the drugs. And I think it's going to get harder to buy your Bitcoin, but it'll spread around the world. So more people around you will have it. So like there'll be a cousin or a brother or a coworker that will sell you $100, $200 worth of Bitcoin. So from that standpoint, it'll become easier. Getting your hands on Bitcoin from a government-approved institution will probably become harder, but getting it from a friend will become easier, right? Kind of like weed. Getting it from a government-approved institution is harder than getting it from a friend. So I think that's where Bitcoin's headed. When do you expect the start of the S-curve? We talked about the S-curve on the World Crypto Network. There's two S-curves, right? Somebody asked me, are we in an S-curve now? We're not in the S-curve of adoption. We might be in the S-curve of speculation. This is where like Wall Street's getting in and hedge funds are getting in. And we may be in an S-curve of speculation, but we're nowhere near the S-curve of adoption. It's hard to get to the S-curve of adoption when the government is still hostile to Bitcoin. I have no idea, but the price will be pushing 20, 30 grand per Bitcoin when we start that S curve or middle of the S curve. I'm expecting great things for the price of Bitcoin. Again, as long as the big blockers don't get in the way and let the smart people scale correctly. Any plans to visit Sweden? Unfortunately, no. I will be in Europe for a month, but my schedule is really, really, really tight, and I probably will not make Sweden. But I do need to. I want to visit more of the world, so keep up with me on that. If you had $10 to invest in Bitcoin, would one wait for the next big downturn or just get in now? Just get in now. Just get in now. Hello from Japan. Hey there. I'm finally doing it for you guys to enjoy live. Why do you think Bitcoin will go down in September? Good question, because I think that's when the New York agreement signers will start, beating the drums for a bigger block and cause a bit of a scare. Also, I guess I can share screen again. I mean, I talk about it all the time. If I go to the weekly chart of Bitcoin, let me share screen. When I go to the weekly chart of Bitcoin, mid-September, I'm going to get a 9. The last time we got a 9 was right here. And this 9 led to a 33% fall in the price of Bitcoin over the following 5 weeks. I'm not saying the 9 led to this, but the 9 would have told people to take some profit before a potential downturn. And there it was, okay? 33% fall. That's significant. The previous 9, I mean, again, if you got out at the top of the 9, you got out at $1,000. It did go to 1150 the following week, but even if you got out at the top of the 9, the price bottomed. Where was the low? 715. So from 1,000 to 715 is a $25% correction. In between the two 9s, there was a 13, which is another potential take profit situation. And if you did take profit, the week before or in the beginning of this week or at the end of this week, right? If you actually got out on the body of this candle, you exited at about. Okay, guys, I do have to cut this video in no more than 10 minutes. I'll have a half an hour to prepare for my presentation, and then I do have to run to my venue. So you did have, if you got out somewhere in this body of this candle, the body of the candle, the close was 1225, the open was 1270. So let's take the middle. If you got out at 1250, it bottomed out at 890. So that's another 20% correction, right? I mean, I understand that this 13 didn't do anything, and this 9 didn't do anything, but the others did. And so my view is, if we continue to go up, we will get a 9 in mid-September. And if that leads to a 20% correction, that may be a good time to pick some up after the correction. So that's pretty much my reason as to why I'm looking at it. Now, if I switch this chart to a monthly chart, okay, this was a crazy month, number 6. And it's great that number 6 was the big kahuna and not number 5, because now it's a lot easier to get that 9. So if the monthly chart gets a 9, you see how this monthly chart also had a 9, and that led to a correction from the top of this 9 candle at 1220 to the bottom of the next one, which was 890. So that's another 20% correction, right? I mean, this 9 didn't lead to it directly, but it did the month after that, okay? So looking at the monthly chart, we got 3 more months of upside. So this is August, September, October, and November. So sometime in November, the monthly chart is telling you might have a correction. And sometime it's in mid-September, it's telling you there'll be a correction. And maybe we'll do another 9 from mid-September into end of November. So we'll see. So I will be paying attention to those when we get there. Back to screen share. And back to questions. What % of your portfolio do you think you should keep in Bitcoin and Ethereum? I think your portfolio should have 0 Ethereum. Mine does. My portfolio has a lot of Bitcoin relative to everything else, but that's also because Bitcoin has gone up in price a lot, so it's skewed my portfolio. And I'm also heavily invested in Bitcoin. I have quit my job for Bitcoin 2 years ago. Bitcoin is my future, so I am way over-invested in Bitcoin, which is why I talk about Bitcoin, trying to help bring its price up. In reality, your portfolio should not be more than 10 to 20% in Bitcoin as a responsible investor. Again, I don't want to talk about your altcoin I never heard of unless it's during a consulting hour. So those that asked me about a coin I've already mentioned as stupid on previous videos, I'm not going to do it here. And I only have 5 minutes left. After BCH difficulty adjusts, if Bitmain kills 40% of BTC hash power, maybe after the 2x split, could it cause Bitcoin chain to stall? No. Okay, so we're only about 5 days away from SegWit use. If Bitmain wants to delete half of their money, then please go now. Go mine the Bcash scam. Go mine your China coin. No one is going to follow you. Miners are not in control. The users are in control. Bitmain will be, forked off the network. They can go mine their scam coin. Bitmain can go mine, other proof of work coins. They can go mine Litecoin, if they really care. Don't be scared of Bitmain. If Bitmain had any control of Bitcoin, they would have shown it by now. They don't. They really, really don't. Okay? Run your node. Don't accept their blocks if they start mining some bullshit. It's not going to flip in value, guys. I don't know who the hell you're listening to. Stop listening to propagandists. I keep hearing people use this idea that an EMP is a real risk. It is. An EMP is a real risk. It's a real risk to your life, more so than to your Bitcoin. Is an EMP a real risk, and how can you protect your Bitcoin against it? I don't think you could right now. I guess Blockstream is trying to protect us from an EMP by putting some satellites in space. I haven't really read much about that project. But once they put some nodes up in space, they will protect us from an EMP because it could be running in space. Maybe they'll put some miners in space as well, get some direct solar energy, run a miner, continue processing transactions. They might use radio waves in order to sync the Bitcoin blockchain. If there's an EMP, we're talking an electrical grid outage. If an electrical grid outage is local, then Bitcoin goes on just fine. If an electrical outage is global, you got about 2 weeks to get the electricity back up. Because if you don't, we die. And the reason we die is because most nuclear power plants only have a 2-week backup for electricity. And if you don't get that electricity back up in 2 weeks, your nuclear power plant melts down, and everyone within, 100 miles dies. So do the math, right? How many nuclear power plants we have? Like France is full of them, right? So there you go. So you got way bigger problems to worry about if there is a solar EMP that knocks out the electric grid than what happens to your Bitcoin, right? You got bigger problems, way bigger problems. So, all right, next. Should we switch back to our user-activated 148 full nodes to original core? I think Core has integrated those. You could. I'd wait another week or two, and then you can switch back. I mean, I'm still running my BIP148 node, but I think that the latest node was, Bitcoin Core fully compatible. But sure, you can switch back to traditional Core node in a week. Is quantum computing likely to become a reality, and do you think there will be a way to defend against hackers armed with quantum computers? I am not too worried about quantum computers, but that is not my area of expertise. I'll wait till smarter people weigh in on this one. I mean, again, the encryption algorithm can always be forked to an upgrade, and I bet you the miners will scream no because they don't want a decentralized coin. I mean, miners want centralization. So, I mean, we will probably have to fight Bitmain when the Chinese Bitmain says, no, we don't want to upgrade Bitcoin security. There's going to be another fight on our hands, right? So, quantum computers, I'm pretty sure, can still be neutered with a stronger encryption algorithm. Again, my opinion, not a professional one. I don't know much about that topic. But if it doesn't scare our current core developers, then it doesn't scare me. How's my mining going? Not that great. The place where I have the mining, it's at my cabin, and there is family members, kids living at that cabin, and during the week because there's no school, and everyone is scared of my miner. They think I'm gonna burn down the cabin, so they kind of only turn it on at night for me, and while they're there. So if there's nobody there, they turn it off, which is unfortunate. And the reason I'm mining there is because I have free electricity there, and I'm cheap. So I don't really want to bring it back home, but I might have to bring it back home and just pay the electricity bill. We'll see. I'm gonna try and keep it running over the winter. I'm making some money. I think it'll recoup itself, even with my on and off mining. When you say something is a 9 or a 6 or whatever, where do I learn? Where do I learn that from? Well, this is an advanced indicator, and the reason you don't know it is because you haven't traded on Wall Street, and you have a lot to learn. And this is one of the things I offer in my consulting service, and I help you understand that indicator unless you take the initiative and you start Googling. I mean, again, if your question is WTF, what does that mean? And you expect me to just teach it to you for free, why are you here? Like, it's why? I have 1,000 people watching my videos live usually. 10,000 watch it after, and if you expect me to hold everybody's hand one by one and teach them something very advanced, then well, I don't even know what to say, right? Um, if um, if I'm using an advanced form of trading to predict Bitcoin, and you don't understand that advanced form of trading, you either need to take the initiative and start Googling and learn it on your own. You can invest and pay for this education, or you can just try to pick up what I say and take it from there. But I'm not here to hold everybody's hand, right? Just ridiculous. I have no idea how high Litecoin can go this year. What do you think will set off the accelerated adoption of Bitcoin? Honestly, when people stop trying to control Bitcoin and just let the smart people keep it stable, and that's the biggest deal. I don't think the dollar is going to devaluate anytime soon. I think the dollar is only going to strengthen. Real estate may crash again because the governments are broke and they're raising the taxes on real estate, making real estate, a bit problematic. People's realization that Bitcoin is something. Bitcoin is, permissionless value transfer, and eventually people will really like it. All right, guys, last two questions, then I'm done. Holding Bitcoin. Will I need to run it through the blockchain after SegWit or other updates? Can Bitcoin go old? I'm sorry, I don't really understand that question, and I am running out of time. I should have stopped this video a little while ago. Let's say, next question. Let's say I invest in Bitcoin, 10% of my portfolio in Bitcoin at, let's say, $400. Now Bitcoin is $4,000, and it's 50 or 60% of my portfolio. How to rebalance the portfolio? It's up to you. You can start to diversify into stocks, into maybe gold if you like, into cash if you like. You can buy real estate. It's really up to you. If Bitcoin has grown to 50 or 60% of your portfolio, which is kind of what happened to me, but I believe in Bitcoin, so I'm just keeping it there, and I think it's going to grow to 90% of your portfolio if you just keep it that way. But it's up to you. It's up to you and your own risk tolerance to do it. All right, guys, thank you very much for tuning in. This video went on longer than I even expected. I do need to prepare for my presentation here in Russia for the ICO event, and I will be talking about Bitcoin here. I'm going to stick around like 3 more days. I'll try and sneak one more video in for you. I'll also try to make some Today in Bitcoins on the World Crypto Network. I know our Friday show is coming up as well. And if you do want to reach out for a consulting session, my price has not changed. It's still 0.1 Bitcoins per hour. If you really want that indicator and you think you understand it and you think you can use it, and you don't really want to pay for the consulting session because you don't need me, and you found all of the materials online that you need in order to trade that indicator, which again is just another tool. You can purchase the code for probably 0.05 Bitcoin, but I still would prefer to give it to you in a consulting session where I can at least explain some of the basics and why I like using it. Okay, and that's about it. Okay, thank you very much, guys, and I'll see you on the next one.